And we are recording. All right, welcome to my Florida PowerShell user group meeting. We do this every third Tuesday of the month. We start gathering at 6:30 just to make sure the presenters that may join us have time to prepare, and we start sharp. We try to start sharp at 7 p.m. 1 hour session. In this particular night, I'm the presenter. Welcome. I'm a PowerShell MVP for 5 years already. Hopefully I get my 6th year at the end of the year. And I'm very glad to do this session for you all. And we'll be covering all about PowerShell, Windows Azure SQL Database Server. And it's not only about this topic, it's also a way to help you set up your PowerShell environment so that you can run from the console and or ISE and or whatever tool you're using, so you can run your SQL, your Windows Azure PowerShell commands. And there's a list of sponsors here. We're powered by Office 365. Sapient Technology is my main editor. PowerShell Studio 2012 is my editor of choice because I'm considered that's a very good for developer. There's many other editors out there that are good you just have to pick and choose what you feel comfortable with, and but at least in my presentation you'll be seeing Sapient Technology product. At the end of the session, if you all provide me with your email address, I will do a raffle, and I will give away a PowerShell 1 month subscription, online subscription. Which have access to tons of videos in their video training library, which is pretty good, including PowerShell, SQL, everything. They have very good material in there. So let's get this puppy started. First of all, for those who haven't tried to sign up to Windows Azure, it's free trial. As far as I know, right now I think Microsoft mentioned that they're not accepting credit cards to set it up, so that's good. And so there's no reason why not to try it. Most of the documentation, you'll find it on this website, the Windows Azure website, and they're pretty good. I have found things that I got struggle a little bit, and their documentation is very reliable. Okay, so please go ahead and browse through it and install it. So, but then again, in order to use Windows Azure, you set up the account, and now you have set up your account, is ready and everything. Then you get to this blank page. This is the portal. This is where you do all your web work with Windows Azure. But of course, we'll be discussing more on the PowerShell side. How can I set up my PowerShell environment so I can consume the their Azure PowerShell commandlets? Simple. First thing you need to do is you need to go through the downloads, go to the .NET section of the SDK, and you have to scroll down, and you'll find the latest version of Windows Azure commandlets for download. Right now, the latest version is on August 2013. You have to keep an eye on this page because they're constantly updating the commandlets, so this date might change. Up to now, August is the latest release. But this is how you do it. And you go through the installation process and you set up all the commandlets and all the requirements. Of course, right now I'm using Windows 8.1, which is using PowerShell version 4, and also the .NET Framework 4.5. All the required piece of software needed to run your PowerShell commandlets will be installed during this process. Okay, so after you do that, then you can go back and look for the documentation, and you need to scroll more, look for more information on what is needed, right? But I'm going to give you the shortcut on this, and we're going to do it through scripting in one sense. Okay, this is PowerShell, Sapient PowerShell Studio 2012. This is my PowerShell development environment, my IDE. And one thing you're gonna realize that before you start setting up your let's do this here. You start shell. Start for clean. Okay. Before you start working with your PowerShell Azure commandlets, you need to set up a key, a certificate key. In this script, it gave you the command, what is needed, the DOS command. Just make it that clear. Yes, believe it or not, this is one of those commands that you need to run it at the DOS prompt. Okay, I'll figure out a way to do it in PowerShell. But for now, it doesn't hurt. Open the DOS shell, and you can run this. Oh, but wait a minute, no, it's not that easy either. You need to install the Windows Azure SDK and or have the Visual Studio 2012 or 2013 installed, because in those applications is where you find they make cert executable, so you can create your key. And basically, this is the initial line how you can set up to build your certificate. So that's the first thing you need to do before you start setting up your PowerShell environment with Windows Azure commands to work. After that's done, I mean, in this piece here, you create the key. On my blog site, if you go to my blog site, and I'll show it right now here, home, I have a series of blogs with Azure databases, Windows. And one thing I want to point out that on the part 1 of 2 on the SQL database server, I describe everything you need to know of how to set up your PowerShell commandlets. Okay, it's right here. We're not going to cover this because it's lengthy, but everything is in here. Certificate, subscription name, if you want to change your subscription access, because it's going to say MSDN for Visual Studio, whatever. You can change that. It's not mandatory, but you can give it a more you can give it a more purpose to what the subscription is all about, right? And then you can go ahead, and here is the section that you have to follow to create that certificate. Because you're not only creating it, you have to export it, and then by exporting it, then you gotta move it into your Windows Azure. And that's the only piece that you might need to do on the portal side, is to load that certificate key to Azure. Okay, and then of course we'll do the scripting. What is needed after you get the certificate key is loaded into Windows Azure. What do you need to do? Okay, so let's go back to the portal. Okay, we discussed about that part of the certificate. It is done here on the settings. Okay, I created a certificate, right, using DOS. I used the certificate management console in order to export and create it. In that way, now here I'm going to do an import and upload, and that's my certificate that I imported into Azure. Now we're ready to start working with PowerShell. Okay, so first thing is create a certificate, upload into your portal. Now we can just forget about the portal for now. Okay, and now we're going to go straight to PowerShell. First of all, you'll find this command here. Get child item cert. Cert is a drive. It's a PowerShell PS drive that give you access to where your certificate, in this case on the current user, is where you find your personal certificate loaded in there. Okay, and you'll find this loaded in there just because on the certificate manager console, you have the option of where you want to export that certificate. You're going to tell you it's going to be a computer or your personal, and then you pick. Okay, you just follow through the wizard. We automatically set it up under your personal, which is going to be here in your current user. So when I highlight this and execute, now I find I have on that directory cert current user my folder. Then you find a couple more certificates that I have in there. Okay. This one here is the one I created for Windows Azure. Okay, well now this is the thing, you need to provide the footprint for this certificate that you uploaded in Windows Azure in order to set up your connectivity so that PowerShell can run those Azure commandlets. Okay, and this is how you do it. Okay, there's a couple more PowerShell lines, one-liners in here that would give you the ability to work with your certificates. Okay, and in this case, it gives you the object. Here I'm creating a variable. Okay, I guess from the get child item, put all that information into a variable $cert, right? And that's built a .NET object. Everything that starts with a $sign is a PowerShell variable name, right? So now, well, he already identified that this is the properties I want to display some information on. Okay, and I'm gonna pipe from this object, the certificate object, into the select object so I can display the values, and then I'm gonna format that output as a format list. And when you run this, you get the following result. So let me do this here. And let me clear this up here a little bit. Okay, now clear screen. Okay. Now let's run this line here. And of course, because I need to run it. There we go. Okay, let me run this line. This is all, everything goes in here. So let's go. Let's create the variable name in here. That's it. How do I know it has information? I just type, I can type $cert, press enter, and that information contains. Now I have a little bit more than that, so I already did a, in order to find out what is your properties on that object, you can do the following. Press enter. As you can see, that object, because a .NET object, have tons of other objects with it. This is everything that you can display information in, the property, not property. So in this case, I'm just selecting some of those properties and displaying it. And as you can see here, I got everything that is certificate key is going to give me for those properties that I selected all the values. Okay. Now, if you want a different format, a table type format, then here's a table type format. You can see different ways of viewing your information you just created. Now, here is the cert manager, which you can run from PowerShell. And we talk about this execute. And when you want to export that particular certificate, then you just going through here. Just like, there you go. Certificates, you right click on the one you need to export, right? And that's how you create, you know, you create the file so you can upload into your Windows Azure. Okay. So this is the DOS command that runs on the PowerShell prompt. That's perfect. Well, for some reason, they make cert utility doesn't behave the same way. All right. So now we got the certificate created. We need the footprint. We need the subscription information. This is very important. When you subscribe, this one piece of information you need to find and save the string. Okay, the subscription ID. First line here, I'm setting up my root, and of course it's optional. But if you want, import the module of Windows Azure, and it makes it ready. Although in version 3 and 4.0, is not needed. It's automatically loaded for you. So it finds, it tries to find, okay, this commandlet, where is that? Okay, margin's already loaded at that point. Okay, so this is the trick to find your sum trip. Okay, is do a directory. You look for that particular array, because remember here, this is 1, this is 0, because it's element 0 on the array, and this is 1. So here I find, okay, I'm interested in this particular certificate here, right? And that is in position 0 of my array, of the object. And I'm going to grab the thumbprint object from it. And then here, I immediately grab it. So you go in a different iteration of getting the object so you can do the next command, which is a set. This is required, okay? All this piece of information is required to initially connect and start using PowerShell, okay? This can happen once or twice, and after that, your PowerShell environment is set for whatever reason until you change your storage account. I get some feedback for somebody. Greg, can you please mute your mic?
Certainly. Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So this block of information is what gets you started to get your PowerShell connected to Azure. You can shut down your computer after that time, turn it on, open the console, and you can start using your Azure commandlets immediately. Okay? This block of information make that happen. There's another piece of information here, another parameter that eventually, when you start working with VMs, is called current storage, and you put a name to it, right? You put a name, you define a name. After that, then this current storage is where you're gonna store your VM's blob, your objects. Everything you do at that level of virtual machines need a storage account, okay? But because we're working with SQL Database Server, it's not required, okay? It's not required. So when you start using VMs, then you want to create your storage account, and then you have to again run this series of this block of code with the parameter current storage account, and it set the footprint of for you to work with Windows Azure commandlets. Okay, so let's say I'm already setting here, and I'm gonna run all this series of lines, and this block of code just set it up. It select the subscription, and then it gave me information just to make sure that the get Azure subscription certify that I'm ready to use my PowerShell, my Azure commandlets. So let's run this. And as you can see in here, the get Azure subscription just certify that I'm connected. Okay, I'm connected. So this means that I can go ahead and do the following. Let's say I'm going to do a restart of my shell. Right? I don't have to do anything else in here. I could do get dash Azure location. I'm tapping on it, and I press enter, and my Azure commandlet starts. So this script will get you started in setting up your PowerShell environment. And of course, you can run multiple scripts in here. And let's run this Azure service, see what comes up with. It's nothing because I don't have any service defined yet. Now, a couple of tips in here. PowerShell have documentation. So the get help has been enhanced, and this is a very good feature. This parameter they just added in version 3 and it's available also in 4.0, and it's called the show window. Here I'm going to show a show window against the set Azure storage account. And here it is. It gives you a pop-up window with the information that you have selected on the help. You have a setting option here where you can pick show me only examples, synopsis, syntax. I mean, you can customize this. Also have a zoom. In case you're blind, you can zoom in so you can read, but all documentation is here. Okay. The core documentation of PowerShell is always available from the get-go. When you have modules, Microsoft don't ship all the documentation with it. So what you need to do is use the updatable help commandlet in order to download that documentation from the web. And even though when you try to do a get help and that commandlet doesn't provide that help, it will do the updatable help automatically. It will kick in and download. So and of course is another example here. Let's say the new quick DM. And there's the so everything at your fingertips, the help. Okay, so this is the first script. Okay, so now we got connected to Windows Azure, and we are ready now to provision, to build a SQL database server. Let me reset this thing here again, start from scratch, and now what we're going to do is split this up. I'm going to say that one, provisioning. There you go. Now let's see, do I have any? We already did the Azure location. It's important for when you provision a SQL database server, you need to identify which location you're going to put it on. So I'm going to run this thing again here. You see all available location before. We have West, East, Europe. So of course, what do? We live in the East Coast, right? I don't want to put my database server in Europe, right? I want to keep it close, right? So we're going to pick East, and that's what we're going to do here. Okay. And I'm going to do the get SQL Azure database server because I don't have anything. It's clear. If you go back to the portal, and you can see the only thing I have in my key loaded, all items, is where display everything that you have built will display on this section of the web portal. And then of course you can go to each individual section and you will see anything in there, right? I want to keep it simple, right? So now the series of commandlet here will build me two different database servers, one in the east, one in the west. You set the location, the user, and also a password for it. Okay, there's a couple things happening here, and I'll explain. This is what I mentioned about, you want to create your own best practices, make sure that it's readable, and this is a good example of a one-liner commandlet with a continuation, which is the tick is the continuation line, continues on the next line. Okay, and this way, it makes it more nicer looking. And of course, I'm included. It's optional, but I include the semicolon, which means this is my end of my one-liner. This block of code is considered a one-liner, a PowerShell one-liner. Okay, so just kind of a very nice technique here that you can use. Okay, so I created two database server here now. Okay. And you have the commandlet to display information. I'm going to run both, so that way we save some time here. Okay, as you can see, I have both in table view format, and here is the list format. Okay, so you have different ways to display information on the console. Now, for the database, in order to access the database, you need to set up a firewall rule. Well, this is one way to do a customized firewall rule. Okay, let's run that. And here I created one with this 10, 10, 10, 100 starting ending IP address. Now, again, this is a technique you could use not only in this case for many, many, many other things, right? This only tells me out of the objects that I have coming from the SQL Azure Database Server commandlet, I'm going to pick the second one of the element. Remember, this build an array is going to have two server names. The first server name, because it's an array element of 0. The second is element 1. So in this case, I'm grabbing, build me the firewall rule for only the second database server. And this is one way you can go ahead and do that. Okay, one way. Okay, I'll show you something very interesting soon. Okay, so now I want to display information that I created. It's going to be similar to what it was displayed before, just to confirm that I have created that custom firewall rule. And now this is a very nice technique that you can apply to many things. Okay, PowerShell our grid view comes with a parameter called pass-through, and this is make it very, very interesting feature because it will pop up a window with all your object information in it, and you can select from it and use it. You can save whatever element from there and then reuse it. And we're going to do that here. First, I'm going to create my object, and you see what's going to happen. I'm getting all my database server, and I'm going to pipe all that information into my outgrid view with the pass-through parameter. And basically, this is all my objects, all my properties coming out there, but this is the thing what I allow you to do. You can pick, you can highlight. I'm going to pick that one. I'm going to click OK, and that is saved on my variable $x, and I'll show you what's going to be in here. $x. You have all those properties in it, but I'm not interested in all of them, right? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and use that to remove that particular server that I don't really need, the West. I don't need to use the West database server. So using that technique, I pick the one I want to remove. I'm going to run it. Okay, and it gave me that it doesn't exist. Okay, I typed something wrong in here. Let me see here. I was not kidding when I said everything goes, right? Let's see. What's database firewall rule? And information here. SQL IP custom. SQL IP custom.
Hey, Max.
Yes.
I don't think you set up the initial firewall rule to begin with. I think you selected it, but I don't think you ran it.
No, it's show there. Look at this. It shows.
Okay.
It's there. It just let me see here. I may have typed something wrong. Let me see. Azure SQL IP custom rule 01. He says it doesn't exist. Doesn't exist for which one? Warning, warning. That is interesting. Oh, let's try this. It is there. tell me it allowed space, but we'll see. We'll see now. This there, that's the one I want to remove. Unless, wait a minute. Okay. Unless I'm picking the wrong one, which doesn't have a setup. Ah, that's what it is. Okay. You see the importance of identifying the array? There we go. Here we go. We're going to get it now. We're going to get it now. So let's go back. Going to reselect my option here. Let's pick it again because it was not, it was the first one. Right? West, east, okay. Yes, that is, it was this one. I want to eliminate the rule. There you go. That's what it was. Okay. Now we got that one. Now we're going to remove. And we'll be removed. Hey, there you go. You see? Yeah, the thing you gotta be very conscious on this piece. You know, you gotta make sure that I build it on a different server and I was not pointing to the right server where the rule was created. That's why. And now I can go ahead and remove that database server because my value is already saved there. By default, you see, if you're running this commandlet separately, it will prompt you, are you sure? But because I already run it, there's a space in here, I just accept the default, just go ahead and run it. Okay, and then I'm going to run again the get database list. I only have one server, which is the West. Okay, so let me just go ahead now here, because I did something. Okay, let me just it won't mess up my flow of my commandlets here. Perfect. So that was just an example of creating, deleting a provision SQL database server. Very simple stuff. Nothing's complicated here. Okay. Let's say that. Now, connecting to the server, right? Now, connecting to the server, I'm going to use the same technique because I don't know how many servers I have created, right? So I'm going to use the same technique with the outgrade view. I'm going to select the server I want to connect to, and this is the connection string to connect to that database server. And first I'm going to run this and go through the whole thing here. This time I'm going to make sure I pick East, my East server. But in a way, if you notice, by doing this, I don't have to worry about memorizing the server name. And then adding it to the string, double quote string, then it will substitute this value, the server value, and and create my database name full string. Okay. Now, look at this, the string, right? It's a string, single quote, but I got to use single quote because my password contains special characters. $sign will be taken as a PowerShell variable, but in this case it's not. It's a string. It's part of my password. I don't need it to be considered as a PowerShell variable, so I had to use the single quote in this scenario. So I give you a scenario of a double quote. So it will substitute the value, the $sign, PowerShell variable name, and that constructing the string. And then here I'm using a single quote for my password because I have special characters. Then here, credential, creating my credentials information to access the database. This is used for many other stuff, like when you create Windows credentials, this can be applied to that. Okay, this two one-liners can be used for Windows building Windows credentials. So keep that in mind. Very important. Okay. All right. So now, I created my connectivity. Now I'm gonna connect to this, but then this block of code is important. First time you create your database, your SQL database server, it will not know if the connection is successful. It might need something more. And this block of code will tell you if you're gonna have a successful connection or not. Here's when you automatically trap that, oh, wait a minute, my firewall rule is not set. So by doing this block of code, I can automatically detect that my connection will fail. Okay? In the previous example, I showed you how to create a firewall rule, but guess what? That's not enough, because your firewall rule needs to be set to your IP that is connecting your machine to Azure. Okay? So this will detect, okay, I'm gonna fail, but now I give you, which is this, all this thing is blocked, okay? I'll give you a troubleshooting technique to how to trap that IP address that you need to set up your firewall rule. Okay? And this was the headache for me in the beginning. First of all, I'm gonna trap that error, okay? Which is safe, which I didn't mention before. I failed on this. Okay, guys, I'm sorry, I failed on this. Each PowerShell commandlet will have an error variable that you can define. Meaning, you can run a commandlet and then you see that, okay, wait a minute, I'm having a problem. It caused an error. You can save the error without giving a hard crash on your commandlet and view the error afterwards. And that's why you use the error variable. This doesn't need to have a $sign in the beginning, but to access that object, you need to, okay, it is $sign error command. This because I already know that element 0 of that object contains the error I'm looking for, okay? And I'm saving that particular, out of that array, into a single string variable called error. So I'm gonna run this thing here. Then down here, let me put this thing a little bit up. Okay, and I'm going to do $sign error. And this is the string information. This is the error it's going to give you if you don't run, if you don't save it on that variable. It will, the command, this is the error will give you. Now, the technique I'm providing right here is that I'm trapping this information. Okay? I'm trapping the IP address that I need to build my firewall rule on. And here I'm showing another technique using the the select, that you can use this in anything you do with PowerShell, okay? Basically what I'm doing is I'm identifying each element and giving a sequence number, okay? This is what all this thing does. And you can use this technique for many things when you work with arrays, okay? And what it does is it will build me, where is it? Information X. Okay. That will build me the array, and oh, wait a minute. This is the thing. When if you have an error over an error, it will erase it. Let me build this again, because I did something at the bottom when I paste. Make sure I build a. Okay, that's there. And what we do here. Ah, there it is. I missed this part. That's what it was. Okay, perfect. So let me run this section here. I missed that I moved that string into and built an array. I do a split. Okay, there you go. This piece here is I'm taking that error message string and I'm splitting it. I'm breaking it in individual. I'm building another array with all the different information, break it down. Then when I run this piece here, you'll see what's going to happen. It will break all the individual lines, and this will help you search for the position of where that IP address is, which is not going to change. It's going to be always in element 18. Okay, and then what I do is identify that element. This is just to display that I'm trapping the IP address. Here it is. I trap the IP address and automatically can go ahead and use that. There we go. Then I can use that and create my firewall rule automatically on the get-go. They say you have to go to different machines, and every machine connecting to Windows Azure, of course, will have a different IP address that need to be set up. And this will help you trap it and create that rule for you. Okay? You can give it a name, rule name, but it will display it there. Okay? This is just in case I'm from another location, and then I can set up, trap the IP address, which is going to be different, set up, different name, and I mean, you can be very creative with this. As you can see, I'm using continuation, one single one-liner, and then here I can verify. I'm going to run the script. I can use the grid view again, pick for the database server, and display the firewall rule information for that particular server. And pick, it was this one, East, and there it is. My firewall rule was created. Now when I go ahead and connect with it, and I'm going to rerun again the logic to trap if I'm going to be successfully connected or not. And when I run this again, boom. I know, it's ugly, but just serve the purpose. I'm successfully connected. They mean to be in green and yellow, but anyway, it shows example. And now here I can go ahead and question, okay, what databases I have available after my connection have been successfully established. As you can see, master is always created on the database when you first set it up. And now we can go ahead and the next few lines, just simple create of your database. It's very simple, one-liner, connection, and the database name. I mean, it's really nothing to it at this point. Just one-liner after one-liner. Do the get Azure SQL Database. Just the list of ones you just created, and there it is, 0 and 1. Keep going. If you want some more information on SQL Azure databases, you can do the same example we did before with the show window. And then, of course, you have the remove commandlet for everything you do in new. You can get a remove. I'm going to remove that one. Wait a minute. Yeah, that is already established. Yep. Then we go ahead and do remove that one. Yes. Make sure it prompts back. It's deleting the sample database 00. It's done, and then you can go ahead and list again how many databases you have in there. You can see master and only one. Okay, that's the piece of connecting to SQL Azure Database Server and automatically identifying your IP rules for it, firewall rules for it. Okay. Now, after we have the database created, what we're going to do, right? We're going to build tables. Now, in this section here, are going to be connecting to the database, and as you can see how easy it is if you do this technique here, because it displayed all the databases you got in there, and you can pick and then you continue working with it. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do the whole selection here. This guy going to pick East. And then as you can see here, the variables I was constructing here, I'm displaying it down here. So you can see how you build your strings, okay? How you build your string for the server name, Azure name, and your database name, and your SQL Server name, all there, see? This is also considered a one-liner, okay? Variable or whatever command, semicolon, another. This is one-liner also, okay? Firewall rule. Okay, so now we got the connections we need, and here I'm using straight Microsoft SMO, Microsoft Server SMO, management, SQL Server Management Objects, okay? Oh, 1 second. So it's blinking. Oh, my share is gone. Oh, shoot. Okay, thank you. Hey, Greg, do me a favor and tell me where, at what point it was gone.
I just saw it disappear like a second ago.
Okay.
So it wasn't too long.
Wow, that was something. Oh, you know what? It was a firewall. Got a firewall message going on here. Okay. All right. Well, so sample SMO. This is the way to create your one way to create your table using only PowerShell. You could use Windows Azure, or you can use SQL Server Management Object as SQL Server Management Studio to connect to your Azure. But in this case, I'm using old scripting. Okay, so using SQL Server Management Object scripting technique to connect to my Azure database server, and then build a table. Everything here is done through SQL Server authentication. Okay, no window. By default, when you start scripting with SMO, the default is Windows authentication. So here is how you connect. This block of code is how you connect to a SQL Server authentication type. Okay, this block of code here. This is what you need. Okay, let me run this. All this block of code gets you connected and set as SQL Server authentication. Okay, and now here I describe my source database name, the table I'm going to be creating. I'm going to set it up here for once. That's just building my variables. And then here, this is the piece of code that you can extract from Management Studio, doing a create, highlight your table object and do create. So you can build your SQL script, and you can consume it as a substring in here. You can see all this was generated in SQL Server. Okay, all is here, and here I'm using the here string method with a double quote, @ open and closing, @ double quote, @ at the end, and then this is the following line where you run the query. Okay, how easy it is. Look at that. You just run this. Matter of fact, let's do this. Hold on a second. Let's go living dangerously here.
Hey Max, I don't think you're getting screen sharing going again. It seems to be frozen.
Really? Ah, crap. Huh.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any activity on
Yeah,
the.
yeah. Well, let me reset this. Let me reset this. There you go. How about now?
Not seeing anything. Oh, loading.
Let me know. Maybe I have to. You know what? Let me close some things in here. Resources. Can you see anything now?
See the same screen as before. Try and throw a command or something, see if it changes.
Oh, hold on a second. I'm sorry. You see something now?
Yes.
Okay, good, good, good. Let me move it away. I need to get some information here. Haha. This is a good thing in here. Okay, I'm gonna copy paste this. And go here, connect. SQL authentication. Let's use SSMS to connect to the database or show you the progress. And I need the username, password. There we go. This is username and server name. And the password is the password. Connect. So now I'm using SQL Server Management Studio to connect to my Windows Azure database server, just so that you can see that we have one database created, and there is, let's see, they created a database, right? There's no tables, right? I'm going to put this on the side here, and we're going to run this to create the table. Oh, wait a minute, went ahead of myself here. Haha. You ain't do that to me. There you go. We create the table first. No value. Max, you have to wake up. There you go. If I don't build the script, it won't run. There you go.
Hey Max, I don't know if you're watching, but it's 8 o'clock.
Nah, it's okay. No
Okay,
worries. No
good.
worries. This is the last piece. I want to show you. Appreciate you keeping time on me because I can go forever here.
Right.
As you can see, I created a table, right? I go back to SSMS. I'm gonna go refresh, and the table is there. And now I can keep working on it. Now, when you build a table in the Azure SQL Database server, you need to create a cluster index. It's mandatory. Okay, that is mandatory. So here I'm creating cluster index, and then I'm gonna run it. Use the same technique. Execute non-query. That is created. And then I'm gonna refresh, and I'm gonna do table See, it's created.